Hey everybody, happy Friday. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Thanks to all of you who watched Lena and me either live or in replay on Wednesday. We really appreciate that. We are now streaming that episode or that Worldview 360 thing that we're doing, both on my channel and on her channel. So you can watch it on whichever channel if you catch it after the fact. But it is live on my channel on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific. So that's 9 p.m. Eastern. I should mention that Sunday, Violetta and I from Psychic Violetta will be together again. You've seen her with me on my channel before, and I've been on her channel. But this time it will also be alive. So that will be Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific. What's that? 2 p.m. Eastern. So, do the timing accordingly. Bring your questions because, again, it's alive. And unlike what Lena and I do, which is talk, Violetta and I, of course, will talk, but we will be pulling cards and we will certainly want your participation um, in the form of you asking your questions. You can do it right in the chat feature, not in advance, but just put them in the chat feature um, during the live. So I will put the link up for that tomorrow, probably. Okay. So here we are Friday. There's a few things I thought that I would look at with you. I also have a tarot deck here. It's just the standard traditional deck, but I have found another tarot deck that I am just over the moon in love with that I'll probably pull out next week. I will also probably use it in my Substack work. I love it. I'll tell you more about it once I've pulled it out to show you all. But I don't think I have fallen in love with uh, a tarot deck like that before. Um, I mean, I love it as much as I love my own Lenormand, I think. It's black and white, which is interesting. But anyway, enough about that. On to the show, as they say. So there's a lot of things going on. I thought that the first thing that I would look at would be the primary elections that are taking place Tuesday in Texas. I'm only really interested in looking at the um, primary Senate race. As you, of course, know, that is James Tallarico versus Jasmine Crockett on the Democratic side. And it is John Cornyn, who is the incumbent, versus Ken Paxton on the Republican side. So, a word about each of those races. I've spoken before about Tallarico and Crockett. My understanding is that Tallarico was in the race first. So, okay. Further, my understanding is that Crockett entered the race because the Republicans, in their racist zeal to, you know, um, disappear everybody black, redrew districts. And that means that Crockett no longer has a district. Currently, of course, she's in the House of Representatives, but she will no longer be in the House of Representatives moving forward after the election. So she threw her hat in the ring. Um, I think that Tallarico and Crockett are both good people. Um, my horse in the race, which I have no horse in the race because I can't vote, I'm not a Texan, would be for Crockett for any number of reasons. But, um, so long as he doesn't tack center, I think Tallarico would be great. And I'm sure that should Crockett not win, she still will have a bright political future ahead of her once we um, take the House and the Senate and the executive. Um, in terms of Cornyn and Paxton, it's interesting because uh, John Cornyn is the incumbent Texas senator. He has the backing of I guess I'll call them establishment old guard Republicans, such that they are whoever is left, and he's got a lot of Republican money backing him. Ken Paxton is currently the Attorney General of Texas. He is mired in scandal, and he is also, I guess it kind of goes together, he is the darling of the MAGA set. So we'll see. So I thought that I would pull on each of those races. What I'm not going to do is, um, look in the crystal ball yet about November. I'm just looking at these upcoming this Tuesday primary races. So what I'm going to do is I'll start with the Republicans, and I will pull three cards for Cornyn and three cards for Paxton and see who looks like they have the better shot. Okay, so this will be Cornyn, and this will be Paxton. Okay, so for Cornyn, remember he is the incumbent. He is the sort of the traditional kind of Republican senator, but at any rate, Ship, Moon, and Scythe. Very interesting. The card that's most interesting to me in this trio is the Scythe, but let's talk about these two first. The Ship is always for forward movement. He is a known quantity. Again, he is the choice of the sort of the rank and file Republicans, such that they are, to the extent that they still exist, um, kind of a traditionalist Republican Texan. Uh, but I mean, these two look good. What's interesting is that we have the scythe, and the scythe, as you know, it's a farming implement that is a little bit oxymoronic because it both cuts, because there's a blade there. It's used to cut wheat, but the blade is curved, which means not only does it cut, it also reaps, it gathers, it brings in. So as a reader, I have to say, well, I mean, which one is it? I think that this looks very good for him. I think that he will be reaping rather than being cut off at the knees. I think he will reap votes, garner votes. So I think Cornyn has a good chance. Paxton, again, has MAGA behind him, but having MAGA behind you is not what it once was for all kinds of reasons. So for Ken Paxton, we have the scales card, the cross, and the clover. I think this is interesting. In fact, I think that because he has got so many um, ethical skeletons in his closet, that will be a turnoff for people who at least say that they are for, um, you know, law and order. The cross is not good. It's a card of endings. of sadness, of disappointment, of pain. And then we have Clover. Now, Clover, it can be lucky, that's true, but sometimes it's not got to do with luck at all. Sometimes Clover has to do with speed, quickness. And so I think that here's what I think. I think Cornyn is going to win that primary, the Republican primary. And I think that that will be something that we learn early on in the counting of the ballots. That's why I think Clover pops up. So I think John Cornyn will win the primary. He's again trying to keep his seat. He is the current incumbent. So Cornyn versus whom? So now we're going to look at James Tallarico. He's got the same academic degree that I have. He's got a Master's of Divinity. There's a lot of theorizing that if he were to win, he would be a good candidate to counter um, the Republicans because he can quote the Bible with the best of them. Um, he can. By the way, so can Crockett. I don't know if you've noticed, but so can Crockett. I also think that I don't think it's going to come down to who can quote the Bible better than somebody else. Um, Tallarico uh, says all the right things, seems like a nice guy. Um, his own mother has critiqued him by saying that, when she has arguments with her sisters, he won't do the his filial duty by taking her side no matter what. And he'll say things like, well, everybody has a viewpoint and we all have to get along and I mean she was being tongue in cheek about her criticizing him for that. But um you know again, is he going to be the equivalent of bringing a pillow to a gunfight? I don't know. Uh, Again, he was in the race first. So, but I don't know that first come, first serve is something that is operative when we're talking about a primary. So I'm going to pull three cards for Tallarico and then three cards for Jasmine Crockett, whom I've talked about before. Um, let's see what we get. So this is Tallarico, and this is Crockett. Yeah. It's pretty clear to me that, again, I'm not a Texan. Texans are the ones who will be deciding this election. Tallarico has the lily, the fox, and the anchor. Voters will say he is a lover, not a fighter. He'll use his words, which will be tempered and measured. That's Lily. This is the card for them thinking that there's some advantage to him being able to go toe to toe with the Republicans in the Bible verse battle, which there won't be a Bible verse battle, but okay. I think that they like him. I mean, for all the reasons that you would think Texans would like him. He is a churchgoer. He is a white man, palatable to all. Uh, for Crockett, we have the bear, the scythe, and the snake. You know, uh, Texas is in the South, right? And I think for white voters um, who are on, who are, well, for white voters. who would vote for Tallarico, they would think that Crockett comes off too strong because she's a black woman and she knows how to use her words the way only a black woman does. They think she comes on too strong. Me, I think that's a reason to vote for her, but I'm a black woman, so there you go. Here, the scythe is a different meaning than the one that it was for Cornyn. When I saw the scythe for Cornyn, I felt that he would be reaping votes. I thought it would be good for him. Here, I don't think so. I think that um, she will lose votes because she's black and she is forceful in her speech and gives no quarter. And while that's what we need, you know, Martin Luther King had some words for these kinds of moderate voters who, don't want to rock the boat. He was not a fan. But anyway, and then we have the snake for Crockett. So I think Tallarico will win the primary. So I think the November matchup will be between Cornyn, the current incumbent on the Republican side, and Tallarico for the Democrats. I might be right, I might be wrong. This is what the cards are showing me, so that's how I think it's going to go. We'll see, right? Okay. The second thing I thought I would look at today is this Paramount thing. So, Paramount, darling of Trump, owned by what are their names? Uh, the Ellisons, incredibly wealthy Republicans, Trumpers. Uh, well, apparently, Paramount was in a battle with of whether they were going to win Warner Brothers or not. Oh, with Netflix. Netflix lost the battle. They could not come up with the kind of money that Paramount was fronting for this sale of Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers includes Netflix, but I mean, that's not what I meant to say. There was a battle between Paramount and Netflix for ownership of Warner Brothers. That's what I meant to say. Sorry about that. Uh, Paramount is the darling of the felon. The felon has made very clear that he would prefer that Paramount win the battle against Netflix over Warner Brothers. And in fact, Paramount came up with a ridiculous offer that Netflix can't meet. Why is this important? Because, among other reasons, under the Warner Brothers umbrella is CNN. And CNN, which I don't know, to my way of thinking, has been kind of veering right for a while now. Um, the Ellisons have said, Ellison's own Paramount, they have said if they win Warner Brothers, they would revamp CNN essentially to be an organ of the felon, just as CBS has become. And so this is quite the blow for legacy media, which has taken blow after blow, or allowed itself to take blow after blow. Um, but again, some of this feels a little bit kind of uh, water under the bridge for me because, as we know, legacy media is kind of on its last legs. And citizen journalism and independent journalists are where it's at. I'm not a journalist, but I'm doing commentary on the news in that independent space. And some of the biggest names in that used to be in legacy media have morphed over to this independent space. Where you've got the contrarian, where you've got Midas Touch, where you've got Substack. Um, so, I'm kind of watching this and saying, well, you all duke it out, but you're kind of old news, like okay boomer type old news. I say this as a boomer. But I'd like to know about the future of CNN. We know what its intended stated future is, according to the Ellisons, again, who own Paramount and seem to have now got the monopoly and will be taking over CNN. So how will that go? I think I'm going to let Spirit pick all the cards. How will this acquisition of Warner Brothers and CNN by Paramount go? I hope I didn't confuse you with all those different names. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to pull five on this. So we have the book, the child, the scales, the moon, and the clouds. Um, you know, I think first off, the jury is actually still out on this sale because of things like anti-monopoly laws and things like that. So, there may be court cases around this that will have to happen before there's a sale. What's interesting is that we have the book here, which is about things we don't know. And then I can mirror it with, which is the last card, clouds. So, we could take that two ways. I can say about the clouds that it doesn't mean anything good for CNN, not from our perspective, because it'll be another Fox, it'll be another CBS. But there are still unknowns as to whether, for example, this deal will be deemed legal by the courts. Uh, I asked how this would be for CNN. That was my primary concern. I'm not looking at all of Warner Brothers, but CNN, the CNN portion. It will be downsized. It will be diminished, and I can mirror it with the moon. This is its reputation. And you can see this is what happened in a mirrored way. I'm mirroring these cards, but we can mirror the situation with what actually has happened at CBS. CBS used to be a flagship network. It's the network of, Edward R. Murrow and Walter Cronkite, and now and 60 Minutes. And now it's a shadow of its former self. It is an organ of the felon. That will be what happens to CNN. CNN had kind of been going that way, but so this means a lot of good journalists, I think, will jump ship and come over to our side, the independent media side, and they are certainly welcome here. But what's interesting to me is that we have this card in the center. This is the card that when I created this deck, I added to the Lenormand system. So it's not traditional to the system. And what I had done was I asked my artist to create for me a set of scales and put a stack of heavy coins on one side and put a couple of just daisies on the other side to make the case that decisions that we have to make are made from different perspectives at different times, right? Sometimes we make decisions from a purely pentacle place, like, we have to put food in people's mouths and roofs over our head and all of that. But sometimes we get to make decisions from um, a more elevated space, like what is the morally right thing to do? And sometimes, we often try to balance the two so that the things that we do to earn our daily bread are the things that we are also in line with morally and ethically. It doesn't always happen. And a scale, if you've ever noticed an actual scale, is never completely still. It's always kind of teetering back and forth. Um, but for me, one of the meanings of this card is the court system. So there may be a challenge, probably not by Netflix, who just doesn't have the wherewithal, the financial wherewithal to meet or best the offer of Paramount. But there may be other entities who are whose primary interest is a free and open media who may go to court over this. And that could very well be why we have this card as the first card. Things remain to be seen. I'm going to take that as a hopeful sign. But an unhopeful sign, of course, is that we've got clouds at the end. Um, because it's not good news that that Paramount won. Not for our side, it's not good news. Okay. Uh, I also, speaking of corporations and entities and stuff, wanted to talk about Anthropic. Now, I don't know how you feel about AI, but it is here. It's not going anywhere. It may not be the miracle drug that people want to claim that it is. Um, but it's here and it's here to stay. And Anthropic is a player in the AI market because they are the owners of Claude, which is an AI um, tool. So uh, Anthropic was ordered by the felon to do something that all of the other AI companies were asked to do. And all of the other AI companies said to the felon, "Sir, yes, sir." They bent the knee. Anthropic was asked specifically to provide two things. One was the ability to use, this is for the Department of War, right? So Hegseth is all over this. The ability that AI can provide to use autonomous weapons. This is weaponry that does not involve any human being. So these weapons can just, I don't know, like, I mean, I'm a boomer, so what do I know? But I mean, I'm just going to give you the easy boomer explanation where you could have like a drone or a robot without emotion, right? Just instructions to go and take out a village. And of course, there's no morals or ethics involved. This was just the strategic move that AI made. So the felon and Hegseth wanted to use Anthropic, Anthropic's Claude for that purpose. And Anthropic said no. The second thing that they wanted from Anthropic was the ability, per Claude, to surveil anybody, any of us. Anthropic again said no. As you can imagine, the felon and Hegseth are frothing at the mouth over this, saying they're going to destroy Anthropic. They're going to force it to give all of their information over. And Anthropic was given a 5 p.m., 5:01 p.m., I'm assuming that's Eastern time, deadline to uh, to change their tune. And as of 5:01, they did not change their tune. So I would like to know about the future of Anthropic. And I'm just going to say that I put them on my phone. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do with it if it hit me in the face, Claude. But I did download it because I said, you know what? I want to send a message to Anthropic that I appreciate the fact that they did not bend the knee. They were not a Columbia, they were more of a Harvard. Uh, and I don't think that, Harvard's got billions in endowments. Anthropic, of course, has billions too. But I think it really took a lot of courage for Anthropic to say, we're not doing this. We don't care what everybody else did. We're not doing this because it's not moral, it's not ethical. So we're not doing it. So, what will be Anthropic's, I'm going to say fate, but fate is not a bad thing. What will be its future? I guess that's a better way to say it. And you know what I think I'll do is I'll use the star because the star is the card both for the future and for any kind of technology. So we're going to look for the star and we would like to know what will Anthropic's future be in the face of them having refused the felon and Hegseth. Okay, so we're looking for the star. Deep in the deck, but not at the end. So this stands for Anthropic. And I think I'm going to pull some clarifiers. Okay, so we have the tower, we have the ring, we have Anthropic that is represented by the star, we have the whip, and we have the fox. Somebody asked me if I could move my camera so that they can see the card. I don't, unless somebody wants to pay for a different kind of setup, this is my setup. I'm working on a very small surface. So that's why I move the camera angle down so that you can see, but it's also why I hold the cards up. Hopefully that will suffice. Okay. All right. Production value is not, um, uppermost for me. The tower, I think this is the government um, who really want to do business with them, with Anthropic. They want that contract. Uh, Anthropic is the star in the center. We have the whip, and I can mirror it with the ring. To get that contract, they will punish Anthropic. That's the whip. The whip is about punishment. But the whip is also, I'm going to say, about discipline. And I suspect that the Anthropic people thought long and hard about whether to allow their baby Claude to participate in what the felon wanted Claude to participate in. So this was not an off-the-cuff decision. So this is punishment. They will be punished, yes, but they will grit their teeth and bear it in a disciplined way because they have counted the cost and decided in favor of morality. Now, the final card in our original line is the fox, and I can mirror it with the tower. And this is the government finding all kinds of ways to get around Anthropic's refusal. It's not nice, but what do we expect? That said, I pulled cards on Anthropic. I pulled clarifiers on Anthropic, and we have the lily, the birds, and the fish. I don't think that I am going to be the only one who saw the stance that Anthropic took and then said, let me download this app on my phone just to show them my appreciation. I'm not going to be the only one to have done that. I think that I love the lily. Um, I think their decision was um, came from a better place than the desire for cold hard cash and favor from a felon. It came from a better place than that. And it is starting people talking. And I do think that, one of the meanings of fish is like plenty. I think they will have tons of support. And even people who are philosophically opposed to um, the use of AI in any way may say, but you know what? You took a principled stand. I'm gonna support you all. So I think that's a great line coming down directly from them. I drew cards on this punishment, and they are the young man, and then we have that same combination that we saw in the earlier reading, clouds and book. So, they will pull out every stop, Hegseth will, and the felon will. But Anthropic, this was a well thought through decision on their part. So they are saying, come on, come on, what you got? Show me what you got. Um, you know, we have clouds and we have the book. Who knows how this is going to turn out? We don't know. But you don't always make decisions from a place of certainty about the outcome. Sometimes you have to be like the tarot fool card and step out on faith. And if Anthropic's faith is in um, doing the ethical thing, and if their faith is in the people seeing that they have done the ethical thing, they'll be able to sleep at night. I hear the felon does not sleep at night. That's another story for a minute from now. The final card is the fox, and um, you know, the felon and Hegseth have a lot at their disposal, but Anthropic, they're AI people. They're smart too. This is if we're talking about sort of intellectual firepower, my money's on Anthropic. And the clarifiers are key, clover, and dog. I love this for them, for Anthropic. Key, the answer. Clover. I think that they will have acquired a lot more friends overnight just from making this decision. And that's a good thing, a lucky thing, a happy accident, you know. So uh I think I will also say that there are worse things than um death. In this case, potentially the death of a company, since the felon and his Igor Hegseth have promised the demise of Anthropic. there are worse things than death, right? Which would be continuing to exist, having bent the knee with everything that that implies about you. So they've made a calculated decision. I think it was a smart one. I think it will, in the end, bear them fruit, even if they, end up having to go away and then reconstitute once the coast is clear. They'll do that, and people will remember that they took a principled stand. That's what I think. Will they have short-term pain that will be very painful? Yeah, they will. But that doesn't mean that you don't do the hard thing anyway, right? Um, Here's a question. So the Clintons testified yesterday and today, and I think that basically their testimony was, or the fact that they did testify, was in, as far as they're concerned, to make the case that no one is above the law. And, Clinton was a two-term president. His wife was therefore First Lady twice, not to mention Secretary of State, not to mention a US Senator. And they came and sat for these interviews when they were summoned. I want to know, does that change the landscape at all for Melania? Like, in other words, should she be brushing up on her English so that she will be um, understandable when she appears, having been summoned in front of the committee? Will the committee summon her? Because what I sense is from what we're hearing from Republican Republican senators and also sort of members of the committee, is that Republicans are starting to say, wait a minute, what do you mean a whole bunch of pages that specifically had to do with the felon's interaction with Epstein are gone? Like, wait, what? And they have said that information needs to be released. Well, to me, that's just a hop, skip, and a jump from saying, and by the way, Melania, we subpoena you. Come and take the fifth. Come on, take the fifth. Because that's what she would have to do, right? So let's see, what does this mean? What does the testimony of the Clintons mean for Melania? Now, I would have said Melania and the felon, but the felon has been given this unqualified immunity, and he'll say, well, I'm a sitting president. I'm not a former president, so you can't haul me in front of the committee. He'll come up with whatever. But Melania is a different story. So, what will their testimony mean for Melania moving forward? And I'm going to use the older woman card for Melania because she is an older woman. I'm just saying. All the plastic surgery in the world is not going to, you know, stay the hands of time, Melania. So you get to be the older woman. I apologize to my older woman card. And she has to play this role, but she's an actor and she understands her role. So let's look for her in the deck. Popped right up. Here she is, Melania. Hmm. So we have the star, the child, we have Melania, we have the sun, and we have the bouquet. Uh, I think that this card, the star, is for us more than it is for her. This is the card for hope. It's also, though, a card for the future. So I don't see her sitting down next week. But it's interesting that it's mirrored with the last card, which is the bouquet. And I feel like she will be deposed. It won't be in public. The Clintons wasn't in public. But I do think she will be deposed, and we will get the scoop from the Democratic members of the committee as to what went on in there. Um, Second card is the child, clarified by the sun. She, of course, will claim to be innocent. But I mean, don't they say a picture's worth a thousand words? And haven't we seen pictures, plural, with Melania and Ghislaine and the felon and other people who've been named? So I think her covers are going to get pulled. Remember, she's in litigation with Michael Wolff, who sued her when she threatened to sue him, but he beat her to the punch. Now she's running away from being served papers. But, you can only run for so long. I think she's in for a really hard time. This is light and heat. And she has spent her whole career wanting to be um, viewed as this sort of mysterious Garbeau-like enigma. And I don't think that's going to last too much longer. So here she is in the center. I pulled clarifiers on the last three cards. So I pulled cards on her. We have clouds, we have the young woman, and we have the garden. So, she will try to obfuscate, avoid, um, cover up, cloud any any involvement that she had with this whole situation. These are the Epstein survivors. She wants to cloud that involvement for the public. She doesn't want to be seen. She doesn't want to be known. Um, I mean, unless you pay money to go see her a movie, which even then, from what I've heard, was a nothing burger. But anyway, we have this sun, and the sun is, they say, the best card in the deck. But I don't know if you ever been to the beach and gotten a suntan. Uh, the sun can burn, and the sun is light. It reveals what you're trying to keep hidden. She cannot get away with this. She can't get out from under the stench and the weight of this Epstein thing any more than the felon can. She'll try to bully her way out of it. I'm the sitting first lady. I'm too busy. I have to shop. I'm getting a massage. Barron needs me. Come on. But in the end, this light will prove, the spotlight on her will prove incredibly painful. Melania is in for a difficult time, I suspect. Final line, final card was the bouquet. I think this is for us. And the clarifiers are the lily, the moon, and the fish. Hmm. Uh, you know, the lily, she would just like to go away, have a nice life out of the public eye, with a lot of money. That's what she wants. And, the felon compensates her. for whatever duty she's performing for him now, whether it's walking him to and from a chopper, whether it's repeating what somebody said because he couldn't hear, whether it's elbowing him awake when he falls asleep, and or keeping his secrets because his secrets are her secrets. Um, there are a lot of fish in the sea, and moving forward, we will find what those are. She will not go down in history smelling like a bouquet of flowers. So, she will try to stall as much as she can. It will not be a good look on her as First Lady. Um, she will lose support from the maggots who think she's a, I don't know, elegant style maven, and we're so lucky to have her as a First Lady. They're not going to be thinking that for too much longer. So she will lose a lot of her fan base, whatever that is. And I think in the end, she will be made to tell what she knows or to take the fifth. And even though, you know, I mean, why do you take the fifth? What does the fifth say? It says, I refuse to answer on the grounds that my answer may what? Incriminate me, make me be liable in some criminal way. So she's damned if she does, and she's damned if she doesn't. She's in for a rocky road, I think. All right. I think I'll come on tomorrow because I wanted to look at the felon. I wanted to skip March and do a deep dive on his April because there are a lot of us in this work who see April as being quite a pivotal month. So I'm going to save that for tomorrow. I'll do a short video on his April, the felon I'm talking about. In the meantime, have a great evening. Put on your calendar the fact that Violetta and I will be here on Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific, which is 2 p.m. Eastern, and it will be a live broadcast. And please feel free to bring your questions to the live in the chat. I'll wear my reading glasses, which is what I've got on now, so that I can see the feed. And we'd love to have you join us. All right, everybody. Also, if you think you're subscribed, just make sure that you are, because sometimes people get thrown off. I've had people say that. Thank you so much for all the likes, the shares, the hypes, the comments. I read all of the comments. I can't answer them all, but I do read them all, and I am really appreciative for your presence in this community with me. It means the world. So take care, and I'll see you tomorrow, this deep dive on the felons, April, and then I'll see you again Sunday morning. Take care.